I've seen you walking around a very she suburb of North London barefoot.
I mean, that's what happens when you get fired off normal telly, isn't it? But I think, you know what really happened is what everyone says when they've been cancelled.
Yeah, it's the Jews.
I was quite happy that Labour won the election, because now what happens is you've got Labour in and it's like things haven't changed, not even going that well, possibly worse. It detoxifies the right in the end, and then hopefully the next administration can just be normal. Wouldn't that be nice?
This is why I like you. You're delusional. Hello and welcome to Francis Foster Sorts Your Life Out, the show where I indeed sort your life out. Bear in mind, I'm no type of therapist, physiotherapist or anything else. However, I am here to sort your life out. I've got a good friend of mine. You may recognise him from GBNews, from a variety of TV shows. It's Mark Dolan. Hello, sir.
It's so good to see you. Can we shake hands?
Yeah, well, we've just done it, mate.
Do you remember that madness during the pandemic when we weren't allowed to shake hands?
I actually quite liked it.
Really? The elbows?
I like the elbows. I like the fist bumps because I'm getting a lot better now. But I used to suffer quite badly with anxiety. So, and the moment you get anxious, you sweat. And then the knowledge of having to shake someone's hand made you sweat even more.
Is that your excuse for your famously wet hands?
Yeah, exactly.
Because I've got other theories.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That's not sweat, baby.
No, it's not sweat. That's just appreciation.
It's also heavy moisture. It's gel-like. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's not
exactly.
Doesn't even resemble H2O. I'll be honest.
No, and then you try and get it off the jeans and you can't. And it's all of these things. But how have you been, Mark?
I've been really well. Yeah.
Good.
Do you know something? I've entered your space, and that sounds obscene.
Yes.
It's a family show.
Yeah.
In my dreams, by the way, I'd have to get a drink in you. We'd go out for dinner, I suppose, and see where the evening went.
Yes.
I'm in your digital area, aren't I?
You are.
And do you know something? It was not a choice I made.
Yeah.
And when people wind up on YouTube and online broadcasting, they always say I'm loving it, and they're never telling the truth.
Yes,
they just want to be hosting This Morning or GMB. But I'm
because
genuinely,
telly is nice.
It's, you know what I mean? It's like what is it? It's luxurious, isn't it? It's like a kind of hotel suite with a bidet and a sort of jacuzzi.
You just roll in. You know, there's lots of people running around treating you like you're important.
Yeah, you're so right, and I think the budgets are still there for the so-called establishment media. Still, I think we can all agree that, you know, the end is nigh. Yeah. But at the moment, they don't quite realise that. It's the Titanic is at an angle. The string quartet is still playing. And everyone's like, this is okay. You know, my roast beef has just slipped off the plate. I think that's where establishment media is. It's not sunk yet. Mm-hmm. And actually the money's still there. So so you've got the money. They also have there is that sort of element of a captive audience that, for example, This Morning, about 500,000 people will watch it every day. But not. So although, you know, that would be the easier option is establishment telly, regular media. Being pushed into this space has been genuinely liberating. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a few reasons. Well, I should say that I was fired by GBNews at the end of 2024. Yep. I'll say the date of 2024 because this, I would imagine, will be a sort of classic and people will be watching it many years to come. So,
absolutely.
Back in do you remember 2024?
The glory days, the halcyon year that was.
And that was just before Christmas. I mean, shall I tell you about it? Do your viewers and listeners care or not really?
Yeah, they will care. Yeah, they love. They probably love a bit of sensationalism. So tell the story.
Okay. Yeah, so I hosted a weekend show called Mark Dolan Tonight. My idea to call it that. You're welcome. And it was 3.5 years there, and then just before Christmas 2024, I texted one of my bosses to wish him a Merry Christmas. So if I don't see you, have a great one. See you in the new year for a big new year. Because I'm like the company boy. Yep. And when you talk to bosses, you always got to be really positive about the project. Yeah. And I used to see the boss. I'd be like, growth. Yeah. That's what I'm all about. Anyway, so no reply. Ooh, no reply to that text. And I thought, well, have I phrased it wrong? Well, I mean, that's an innocuous. Anyway, then the next day I get a very impersonal text saying, please, can you see us at 9 a.m. tomorrow? We're making changes to the schedule. And that was it, right? But at that point, I didn't realize I'm out on the list. I mean, I assumed promotion was coming.
So you were like, you're like a dog being taken to the vet, thinking it's going to get its nails clipped.
Yeah. Some doggy treats. And therefore, you know, what have they got in store for me? No, what it was is, I don't know what this is about. But either it'll just be some tweak to the show, or maybe I'll go somewhere else on the schedule, or maybe they'll fire me. But the fire me was about 20% of my expectation. And then I went in. I met a lady I'd never met before, which is always a red flag. And then I was taken to a floor of the building I'd never been on before.
Okay.
To a room I'd never been in before. So the whole thing was it was very Goodfellas, if I'm honest with you. Right? And I'm like, where's this going? And so we sit down, and this, one of the sort of senior management is there saying, hi, Mark, we're making changes to the schedule next year, and I'm afraid you're not part of them. I'm really sorry. And that was it. Now, luckily...
Hang on a second. So that was literally the meeting?
That was it, baby. That was it. There's a text. And it was very quick.
That's brutal. Like, just literally.
I'm not, no word of a lie.
And then you just left.
Then I left, exactly. I mean, I had loads of... I'm famously...
Hang on a second. Could you ask him questions?
Oh, yeah. So, the first thing was... does this? I grabbed my pass. Does this still work? So I've just got like loads of jackets downstairs. Had to kind of shuffle into the office, not make eye contact with anyone, and grab my gear and just go, right? So whatever I could grab, really. And so that was pretty wild. And but yes, so I just said, okay, I understand your decision. I respect your decision, because I'm long enough in the tooth to know that if the game's up, right, you better go with grace. You got the head of HR. She's got a letter written by a lawyer in an envelope. You've got one of your bosses. It's like, it's over. You know what I mean? You're not going to talk your way out of this one. So I think that maybe if I was in my mid-20s, I'd have come out fighting or something. Like, are you mad? But instead, you were like, well, it's a done deal. They've made a decision. And so I just said, I understand and I respect your decision. It's disappointing. I wish you good luck with the future. Also, I've always thought that how you leave, everything in life is messaging. And if someone fires you and you're really good about it, the message is that they made a mistake. Because if you're like very relaxed about leaving, it's like, wait a minute, why? We just fired this guy. Why isn't he angry? I think it's smart psychology. It's the same in a relationship. If you get dumped, if you sort of just start crying and sobbing like a child. Instead, you're like, I totally understand why you want to move on. At that point, the person that's dumped you is like, wait a minute, why did he take that so well? So I just decided, and also it is just that thing. It's like if you get pulled over by the police, it's like they're in charge now, aren't they? You're like, officer, how can I help you? So that's how I felt. I'm like, wow, okay, I'm out. And I actually only had one massive question for them, which is, can I start working straight away? Because my contract, there was a 6-month break clause, which meant that if I had chosen to leave, I'd have to work for 6 months. And if they chose to fire me, they would have to make me work 6 months. My concern was that I'd do half a year of gardening leave. Yeah. Which wouldn't be bad because it would be like a little mini pandemic. Do you know what I mean? You sit at home and drink wine in the afternoon.
Yeah, become an alcoholic.
That's basically it. Bake bread and watch...
porn.
You need to look at pornography, and if things are really bad, maybe watch the US legal TV drama Suits.
Yes.
If things were really... my mother once came in and saw me watching Suits, never lived it down. Yeah. So I went back to the hardcore graphic pornography, which
as you should.
My mother preferred. And so, crazy. And so I said, and they said, you can work straight away. And I was really relieved about that. So strangely, I think straight away in survival mode. And I just knew that if you're off the radar for 6 months, that is really bad for momentum and this world that people have just got an 11-second memory. So I was happy that I could get working again. And was there any other? And not really. I don't think I had any other question. I just said, is there a reason? And they said, no, we're changing the schedule. They did say that the original lineup had sort of more or less moved on. So Dan Wootton and some of the breakfast team and all that maybe the original old guard had moved on. And they did say they wanted the shows to be about an approach where it's all about the host. It's not what they wanted. They wanted the program to be bigger than the host.
Yeah, so it makes the host interchangeable and all the rest of it. Yeah,
and
so they're not beholden to hosts.
Definitely, and they mentioned, that's people have gone on holiday, and the ratings have stayed the same with the replacement, and they viewed that as a great success. I'm old school. I grew up watching. My broadcasting hero is David Letterman.
Yeah,
and I'm obsessed with US TV, especially that sort of the late night talk show genre.
Yep.
And that's the opposite. Johnny Carson was he was obviously a legend of late nights. And when he quit, he met one of the producers of the new show at a party, and the producer was like, "Oh, Johnny, good to see you. We've got really big plans for the new show, and it's going to have stunts, and we're going to have hidden camera." Da, da, da. And he interrupted him. He said, "You do know that these shows are about the guy behind the desk, don't you?" And he was a very wise man. And I happen to think that that's what those shows are about. At GBNews or anywhere else, Talk TV, LBC, dare I say it, TRIGGERnometry. This show, it's about the guy or the woman behind the desk. It's based around your personality. Yeah. So I was mystified that somehow the show should be bigger than the person. So therefore, maybe it was too idiosyncratic. Maybe it was too wacky. But I think, what really happened is what everyone says when they've been cancelled.
Yeah, it's the Jews.
I was dropping too many truth bombs, Francis Foster.
There you go.
That's what everyone says. But anyway, no, I'm really happy because I'm out of it. And what I did is I hit the ground running. So I called my producer to tell him that he'd lost his pretender. He was privately very happy about it, I can't lie, because I'm a pain in the arse to work with. I'm very aggressive. I'm quite handsy. It's like Me Too never happened.
Exactly.
I don't have boundaries, basically.
Yeah, and that's why you're going to be perfect for this show, because we have got some questions that they're going to ask you, Mark. They're for you, and they want you to solve their problems.
I should mention that I'm on YouTube, shouldn't I?
We'll do that afterwards.
Good.
Okay, cool.
It's very entertaining.
Right. Here, Francis. My husband keeps buying military-grade survival gear just in case things get spicy with NATO. Has he lost the plot, or is he onto something?
Well, I think that my husband keeps buying military-grade survival gear just in case things get spicy with NATO. Yeah. No, he's very wise.
You think he's very wise?
Yeah, I mean, we're living in an unstable world, aren't we? Donald, for better or worse, has decided that America's not going to defend anyone anymore.
Yeah.
So it's basically, what's this person's name? Do we know?
No, we don't know.
Should we call her Barbara?
We'll call her Barbara. We don't know. It could be a man.
They could be in a civil partnership.
Yep. No, or a marriage.
Correct. Yeah, they might have.
But no, but it's clearly she's clearly a woman who is on the edge. And it just can't take it anymore.
I think Barbara's I think she's gaslighting her husband, who is aware of how very fragile geopolitics are at the moment.
Yeah.
And I think if he's of reasonable fitness, good eyesight, he hasn't got flat feet, I think the guy should fight.
Yeah.
I think she's, I think this is in him. It's like a calling. I think you and I mean, would you take arms if you had to?
Mate, I don't. I'm going to frame it like this. I think any army that would have me has automatically lost.
I'm not so sure.
Mate, trust me. You haven't seen me fire a gun.
You're a very loquacious man. I think you could win them over with words, with wit.
I don't think. And Vladimir Putin is a fan of banter, Mark.
I don't know about that. I mean, I think you could use one of those apps on your phone that translates your voice. And you could do maybe your classic stand-up routine from the late 90s that I witnessed at first hand.
I remember
early 2000s.
No, it was late 2000s. Oh, no, it was around 2013. I remember it. It was the Amuse Moose semi-final, Mark. And you opened doing 10 minutes about Jimmy Savile. Of
course I did.
Yep.
Always a crowd pleaser. I was controversially, I was pro Jimmy, which I think was a mistake.
Yeah, and I did find that frustrating considering I was on first and the audience was somewhat non-receptive to 10 minutes of Jimmy Savile banter.
I think where I went wrong was the diagrams.
Yes. I don't think people needed the diagrams,
I think the scrapbook was a mistake. The illustrations and some of the pixelated photos didn't go down that way. No. Well, listen, but I'm sure that you turned that around.
No, I didn't.
Really? Did you have a rough one?
Yes.
Oh, no. But then you see, you have me to thank for your very successful career.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you hadn't bombed as a result of my very weak comparing, we wouldn't be here now.
It was partly my fault because I was going through my Louis C.K. phase at the time.
Okay.
Right, not like that.
Masturbating in front of women.
No, not like that. But I was thinking that if I was a little bit more schlubby looking, I would be able to, talk about failure and the way that Louis did.
I see. So you feel like your appearance killed it.
I just think that it just wasn't ideal. But look, that's just what comedy is.
Well, you've not looked back.
No,
this guy, he's craving to be. He wants to fight.
Yeah.
And by the way, we need people to fight. You know this great debate about toxic masculinity.
Yes.
It was cropped up in a lot of your broadcasting work.
Mm.
It was very useful during the Second World War, wasn't it?
Of course it was.
It was handy.
It was.
And I think it might be useful again.
I agree.
And so I think Barbara, I think you need to get with the program, encourage, and also military grade survival gear. Oh, by the way, sorry, I kind of interpreted it as that he was going to buy like uniforms, like khakis and camouflage. But are we talking about candles and tinned meat? Do we know what Barbara is pertaining to?
I think what we're talking about, survival, military grade survival. I'm thinking about infrared goggles.
Oh, I see. Yeah. That would be. And then I guess building an underground bunker.
Yes.
A la Robert De Niro in...
Meet the Parents.
Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing. An underground lair, a survival shelter is also not a bad idea.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know what's going to happen to this country. By the way, I mean, joking aside, right? Let's pausing the hilarity for just a nanosecond, Francis.
Yes, come on.
So I'm with this guy. We do take the peaceful situation that we inhabit very for granted, don't we?
Well, none of us has experienced war. Well, the vast majority of us have never experienced war.
But that's why I think Ukraine's interesting, because Ukraine was like just a relatively prosperous Eastern European country 5 years ago. Was it 5 years ago? 6 years ago?
Yeah.
They had shopping centres and cinema and ice cream parlours, and they had the equivalent of Brent Cross Shopping Centre in North London.
Yes.
And all of that's gone. And I just think we, sometimes I'm in the supermarket and I look at the choice of, like, for example, tea bags. And there's about 20 different types of English breakfast tea.
Yeah.
And I think what this guy is saying is, that's not going to be available forever. It might just be Sainsbury's own brand red label tea if things don't work out.
Well, in that case, I'm going up. I'm taking up arms.
Don't you think you and I wouldn't we have fun in a tank?
No,
all
we
cozy,
wouldn't.
All sort of squeezed up together.
No, it'd be awful. I'd hate it.
You'd look quite rugged as well.
I wouldn't look quite rugged.
And then you've got your rations to look forward to. I think we could both take up smoking together.
Yeah, that would be good.
You have to smoke. If you're either the military or prison, you must smoke, I believe.
Yeah, them's are the rules. So we can say, Babs, get with it. He's just prepping for Putin.
Is that wrong? Have I misread the room here?
No, I don't think you've misread it. I think you've analysed the situation magnificently.
And the only issue is what side he might take, because he might be one of those sort of online disruptors.
Yeah,
decides to back Putin all the way. He might be off to Moscow.
He might be,
and that would be a shock for Babs, who didn't realise he'd been watching that much Tucker Carlson.
Yeah. But, I mean, there are a lot of people who do, and a lot of people who love Tucker, and God bless him.
Do you know what? He's a great broadcaster.
He's a great broadcaster, if a bit mental.
Do you think?
Oh, yes. I mean, he says that he got scratched in bed by a demon while sleeping with his dogs.
Right. Is that a genuine, that's a true story?
That is a true story.
He does have a kind of, he's got an unusual way about him. I think what interested me about him was the form rather than the content. I was quite inspired. Do you remember when he was on Fox News?
Yeah.
And it was, I think, an 8 p.m. show.
Yeah.
Tucker Carlson Tonight.
Yeah.
And love him or hate him, just my interest in broadcasting meant that I really admired that format.
Yeah.
Right? He could have been a lefty, he could have been in the middle, he could have been on the right. But I love that notion of a daily State of the Union address.
Yeah.
And that monologue, I was probably, his monologues on that show, they were the iconic monologues of US TV history, I think. I can't think of another. I mean, Walter Cronkite announcing as a newsreader, then you would have like Letterman's witty monologue.
Yeah.
But old Tucker with that sort of, right, here's what I think of the world at 8 p.m. every night, I thought was quite iconic. And I will say that when I was at Talk Radio and then at GBNews, I was quite inspired by that notion of, hey, everyone, stop what you're doing. Let's talk. And I think that, I'm very interested in that. I do that on my show, the Mark Dolan Show on YouTube. The monologue thing is an underrated format.
Yes.
So, and he was good at that.
He was very good at that, and he wrote them all himself.
Yeah, that's it. He said an interesting thing in an interview. He said he doesn't know what he thinks until he writes the monologue.
Really?
Yeah.
There we go.
What does that tell you?
Tucker, you're always welcome on the show, mate. I know you're a big fan. All right, next one, please, Jackie. Dear Francis, there's a guy in my office who insists on describing everything as Orwellian. He called meal deals Orwellian the other day. I want to argue, but I also fear he'll quote 1984. What is my exit strategy?
Orwellian has become sort of lazy shorthand, hasn't it? Like the word woke or anti-woke.
Oh, God, yeah.
You know, these catchphrases now, or what is it? Catch-all terms. I completely understand why she's bothered by this. He needs to sort of choose another author. Maybe the world is getting very Chaucerian because of all the cunts.
That's a good point.
And maybe the world is getting very Shakespearean because of all the mead we're drinking these days. I don't know about you, but I'm stacked on mead as we speak.
Indeed.
Used to be cocaine.
Yeah.
It didn't. It's a joke.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you know, you were at Channel 4 during the glory days of broadcasting.
That's a very good point.
I mean, those must have been halcyon days.
They were indeed. Actually, it was a good time to be at Channel 4. They had viewers and everything.
Yeah. And money.
Correct. Oh my God. Balls of Steel was, and look, I know it wasn't for everyone, hidden camera comedy show of the 2000s.
It was very funny.
It was all right, wasn't it? Good people on it. And, but it followed Ali G.
Yeah.
The 11 o'clock show, which although not perfect, led to Jimmy Carr,
Ricky Gervais. Daisy Donovan as well.
Daisy Donovan, Ian Lee, some good people. And then what was the other big things? Ali G. Oh yeah, Trigger Happy, which was massive.
Yeah, love Trigger Happy.
So yeah, those were the days. It's been an amazingly. I can't believe how old I am, to be honest. You're a lot younger than me, aren't you?
I'm 42.
Oh, you're a baby.
I don't feel like...
Just think what lies ahead.
I'd rather not, Mark. It's utterly terrifying.
You got the whole of the rest of your life to be Francis Foster.
No,
use it wisely. I always think that about, but you know, like Musk. Not everyone loves Musk. Musk's not that old, is he? He's probably what, early 50s?
He's early 50s.
So he's got another 30 or 40 years of being that powerful, that rich, that famous.
Yeah, but I think there's going to be an almost Shakespearean twist in the tale with Musk. I don't know. But I think something's going to happen.
He contains within himself the seeds of destruction, doesn't he?
He does, as we all do.
Yeah.
We are all architects of our own downfall.
Definitely. I mean, I remember years ago, he's got form on that because when he went on the Rogan podcast, upon which you are a regular, and whenever you're on, I'm like your mother, I'm so proud.
Thank you. My mother doesn't know about Joe Rogan. She has no idea. She doesn't even know what a podcast is, bless her.
Is she? She's probably is she a left-wing reactionary?
No, she's incredibly right-wing.
Is she?
She's a right-wing Venezuelan woman. Does she
make you look very moderate?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, you're not even on that. You're not even on that spectrum, are you? You don't buy into left versus right anymore.
No, I don't. I think they're both bubbles.
Yeah, and either is a label to stop people saying what they think.
But it's also both of them are bubbles in which you don't have to think for yourself.
Mm-hmm. So
you just go, oh, I'm on the left. Oh, trans women are women. Or you're on the right, in which case, Trump's brilliant. Everything he does is incredible. And you go, really?
Yes, it's difficult. The right have put it all. They're in the casino. It's all gone on, not black, on orange.
It has.
And now they're hostages to fortune, aren't they?
I think as well, it's going to be a decision that's not going to end well.
But
we will see. We will see. What does this person do?
Oh yeah, so you need a tangible solution. We feel you. This person doesn't have a name either. Do you think it's a man or a woman? There's a guy in my office. I feel like a woman would say.
Yeah, same.
Is this Barbara again? Just a really angry woman.
Just a very angry woman who hates her husband.
Should we go for Angelica?
Yeah, let's go for Angelica.
Angelica, thanks for your message and thanks for watching the show. I think what you're going to have to do is possibly. I think this guy is on what Francis would describe maybe as the woke right.
Yes, I think so.
The people who are on the right who are just as bad as the woke left.
Yeah.
In other words, they do cancel culture, they do pylons of people, and they get caught up in cliches like Orwellian.
Yeah.
So I think that he needs to be de-radicalized, and I think he needs to be shifted to the left, okay?
Yeah.
Just to balance him out. Not to bring him to the left, but stick him in the middle.
Yeah.
Where most sensible people are.
Yes.
And therefore, what she could do in the office is switch on LBC at 10 a.m. every day.
Yeah.
And have the James O'Brien show on loudspeaker, right?
Yeah.
Get some home truths about Brexit.
Yep.
About Trump.
About trans.
About the trans thing. They are women.
Yes.
Bigots. Check your privilege.
Yep.
And I think you'll see, and then he'll stop you saying the word Orwellian, and he'll come into the mainstream. I think that's the dream. The danger is that if you let this guy keep on with his Orwellian stuff and his alt-right nonsense, he'll be on YouTube as well.
He will be.
And that's competition for us. And he might be better than us.
Yes.
And I don't want that.
Exactly. We don't want another Tucker Carlson.
Correct. No way. There's too many already. So there you go. I mean, I hope, Angelica, that helps. I think.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what books she would read that would shift him to the left. I mean, is the Guardian still a good antidote to conservatism?
It's actually got far more sensible now, The Guardian. It's not as like, it doesn't write articles anymore like exercise makes you right wing.
Yeah.
Which is actually my favourite phase of The Guardian.
It's funny, isn't it? Because I was, in one way, I was quite happy that Labour won the election, because what it would do, I knew, is that it would silence those on the left who try to just characterise the Tories as pure evil, like just wicked, heartless, Because now what happens is you've got Labour in, and it's like things haven't changed, maybe not even going that well, possibly worse, who knows, we could debate that on another time. But and it's like, well, 4 or 5 years of that, and then I think what it does is it detoxifies the right a bit, and it makes small c conservatives look less like bad people, because like, okay, the left, it's your turn. And actually with Starmer's big majority and everything, I think it's actually going to be quite healing, because I think what will happen is that he won't deliver for the country. Things won't be great. And then, so it detoxifies the right in the end. And then hopefully the next administration can just be normal. Wouldn't that be nice?
This is why I like you. You're delusional. Next. Dear Francis, my brother runs a TikTok account where he narrates his walk through Leeds city centre like it's a wildlife documentary.
Oh, no.
It's mildly funny, but he keeps filming strangers without asking, sorry. Do I intervene before he gets smacked?
No, I think that if this man were to perish at the hands of a local hoodlum, it would be Darwinism in action. And I think that the world is overserved with TikTokers. I know that's a bit ironic, given that I've now become an online viral sensation. It's a little bit hypocritical.
Yes.
But as with the last caller, I'm snuffing out the competition here. It's a problem, isn't it, when absolutely everyone has become a broadcaster. Everyone's a brand. And so I think I would allow the wise folk of Leeds, especially the ones that have been drinking lightning cider all day, to take care of this on our behalf. And it'll be very sad. And I can't, in all good conscience, I can't say it's great that this guy is going to experience an extraordinary physical attack at some point. But when it does, a little bit like, Starmer's 5 years, it'll be in its own way a healing experience.
No, do you know what? He's going to get beaten up, and that's going to be his true viral video.
Oh my God, it's going to be amazing. And then you've got the A&E, and he's bleeding, and then the healing process.
Yes, and this is my journey.
There'll be a crowdfunder to get his legs back together.
Yep, and then he'll be saying what I learned from this experience.
So yeah, I think let it happen. Let nature take its course is what I would say.
Yeah. Do you know, I feel like I want to go in and lambast this person for doing TikToks and go, you are disgusting. The other day, someone described me as a YouTuber, and I recoiled in disgust.
I know.
But the reality is,
yeah, the issue is being called a YouTuber or identifying yourself in that way is like being of a certain age and wearing skinny jeans, isn't it?
Yeah. Aren't you wearing skinny jeans?
I am wearing skinny jeans today. Right? But I shouldn't be, because I'm 51 years of age.
You're looking good.
Oh, God bless you for that. It's the lights and hormonal treatment from Canada using bovine hormones, as recommended by Joe Rogan, your friend. I shouldn't be wearing skinny jeans. I am. I shouldn't be on YouTube. I am. So I think, I know what you mean. It's the word YouTuber is just somebody in their 20s, isn't it?
Yeah. And no, well, to me, what YouTuber means is a figure puffed up on their own self-importance delivering a direct address to camera, wink, and just demented levels of narcissism, nod.
Yeah, I mean that is the other issue with everyone like this guy on TikTok. It is creating a cult of narcissism across the whole of the free world.
Yep.
And I'm not sure where it goes, but I think it'll be self-correcting because I think there's just such an oversupply now of citizen journalists that it'll be a case of you have to be good enough to survive, would be my guess.
Absolutely. Survival of the most narcissistic. Thank you very much. Dear Francis, I moved to the countryside for peace, but now I can't sleep without sirens. I miss crime. I miss noise. I think I miss being scared.
Yes.
How do you deprogram your narcissism on the brain? How do you deprogram your nervous system?
Well, I think that countryside crime is a thing too.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Have you ever lived in the countryside?
I never have. I'm not a rural type. I think that...
You're a metropolitan elite.
Yeah, a little bit. I can't lie. I mean, that's a great irony. All my rants about the sort of the elite North London sort of Negroni swilling middle class dinner party types. It's my people.
It is your people. I've seen you walking around a very she suburb of North London barefoot.
Yeah, that is. I mean, that's what happens when you get fired off normal telly, isn't it? Yeah, no, I have. Well, I went through a phase. I mean, this is something that I was quite excited about a couple of years ago, which is sort of self-help and that idea of is it biohacking, body hacking?
Yeah, biohacking.
Biohacking, and it's all this idea of mental and physical strategies to have a better life. And when I was very interested, so the big change was 2018. I went low carb.
Yes.
Right, and lost 3 stone.
Amazing.
And had loads of energy and everything. And that made me think, I wonder what other changes I could do. And so I looked at all these health things, and apparently barefoot walking is good, except not in leafy North London where there's a lot of dog poo, broken glass, and other mysterious substances. So, but yeah, you will have seen me doing that. And I used to go and dictate my monologues on my phone, barefoot, walk around. But I don't do that so much these days. But I'm part of this North London elite dinner set crowd. Yeah. But there's one key difference.
What's that?
I don't think what they think.
That's what they all think.
I know.
You think you're different. You think you're special. Come on.
The best you can do is politely nod. I've definitely identified a groupthink in my neighborhood. And what it seems born out of, just to be serious for a second, it's born out of a lack of experience of the real world that everyone else lives in, insulated from the consequences of your own virtue signaling positions. Turns out to be accurate. Who knew? But yeah, so countryside, I don't know really. I mean, I'd get out, I'd get back into the city. I don't know about you, but I find farmers terrifying.
Well, they've got guns.
They have guns, and also they've got a ruddy complexion. How did they get that ruddy complexion?
Alcohol mainly.
I think it's booze. I know there's a bit of windburn. I think some of it is just rage. Yeah.
But it's a tough job.
It's a tough job. And I think these people, they're outside, they're drunk, they're angry. Yeah. And I think that's actually worse than your local city centre beatnik. Yeah. Is actually the landowner with a personality disorder and a fatty liver. I think those are the people you need to back away from.
But that's enough about Jeremy Clarkson.
Good point. I've just described the Jezza, haven't I? Yeah. The only other thing is that there's going to be a big house building project, isn't there, in the next few years?
Yeah,
a revolution. Has to be. So I think that your little rural idyll will probably be a city centre in about 4 years anyway.
So there you go.
There'll just be blocks of flats and lots of criminals. Don't you worry. The dysfunctional hellscape that is London is heading your way.
Absolutely. You too will be able to enjoy being stabbed outside a Costa Coffee.
There was an incident in Highgate just the other day.
Really?
Which it's the end of days, really. If you're not safe from a stabbing in bookish Highgate, which has got second-hand Oxfam shops with, sort of like Giorgio Armani suits in the window, then there's no hope, frankly.
There is no hope. Thank you very much. We've got one more, Jackie.
By the way, it's very mentally taxing, this.
It is. That's why we do it. That's why we brought you on, because we knew that you had the mental and intellectual rigor to be able to handle this type of question.
What's your appraisal so far? What's your kind of...
Yeah, we'll leave it to the end of the episode.
Yikes.
Dear Francis, there's a woman on my street WhatsApp group who keeps reporting everyone's recycling mistakes. I once put a soup can in the wrong bin, and she passively aggressively posted about certain households. Should I confront her?
That is passive aggressive. No, because these people who are angry, who I've encountered for wrongthink, okay, who are furious with me for wrongthink.
Yes.
And
I thought you were talking about GBNews viewers there.
Never. No, definitely not. No, they're common sense folk. I mean, the great thing about your...
A few of them were angry.
Yeah, I mean, look, people have got... people have got a right to be angry, but yeah, here and there. Basically, I've encountered, you get these people that are furious with you. And the worst thing you could do is engage.
Yes.
Because that is, without them realizing it, that's what they want. People have in the past, watched my shows or monologues or anything else, and they call it hate watching.
Yes.
And you don't realize that they need you to get that dopamine hit.
Yeah.
They want to get worked up. So it's the bear joke, the bear in the woods. You know that joke, don't you?
No, go on.
Really?
Yeah.
You want this? Okay, I'll try and say it really quickly. There's a hunter and he wants to shoot the bear. Mm-hmm. So he goes to the woods and he waits ages for the bear, and he's got a rifle and he shoots the bear, and the bear just goes bash on the ground, on his arse, flat, and there's an enormous amount of dust, and the bear looks like he's gone. Anyway, the dust settles, there's no bear. So where's the bear? He gets this big paw on his shoulder and he looks around, and it's the bear, who's none too pleased. And he actually has sex with him up the bum against his will.
So he gets raped by a bear.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure about the sort of legal and verbal language parameters of the show, but you've clarified.
That's an accurate description of what happened, of the act itself.
No, I think that the bear fell in love with him. And
I don't think that would stand up in a court of law.
They honoured the, is it, what happens when you get married the wedding night? There's a consummation of a bond.
Yes.
Okay, and there was a lot of consummation that night.
Yeah.
Anyway, it takes this guy quite a while to recover because bears, it turns out, they're well built in that department.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Robust. And there's no erectile dysfunction in the bear sort of genre.
Yeah.
So he finally recovers and he's like, I'm getting my revenge on this bear. Luckily, it's a short joke. Thank God for that. I'm getting my revenge. And he's obviously angry and bruised. So he goes back, and this time he's got a bazooka, which, what is that? I mean, it's like a gun, but it's a big gun, isn't it?
No, it fires a missile. I mean, it's a bit excessive to kill a bear with a bazooka, but we'll go with it.
Yeah.
There's alliteration
Do you think it
there.
features in the Expendables, the popular
it
film
will have
franchise?
done. Yeah, it would have done.
And it goes on the shoulder.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Probably heavy.
Yep.
So he waits for the bear, and the bear appears, and bang, he launches the bazooka, and almighty explosion, and another massive cloud of dust. It all settles. No bear. Paw on his shoulder. And I'm afraid another good couple of hours of rapage ensues. Okay.
Yes.
All falling in love with each other and establishing that bond. Anally. Then it's like this time he needs 6 months off.
Yeah.
Okay. He goes back to the scene of the crime, and this time he's got a small nuclear weapon. And it's like, if that doesn't work, nothing will, right? Happy days. So he waits for the bear. He sees the bear, and he presses the button on this nuclear device. At which point the sky changes color to a kind of fluorescent orange, a mushroom cloud like you've never seen, and a crater a mile deep. No bear. Also, all the dust settles as radioactive material.
Yeah.
There's no bear. Paw on the shoulder. The bear says, "You don't just come here for the hunting, do you?" And that's how I deal with online critics.
Yeah.
Is that actually they want to get angry.
Yeah.
They need me. They need you. They need anyone they don't agree with. Because we are the source of their dopamine hit.
Yep.
So the reason why I ignore people who are like that is because I don't want to give them a good time. I don't wish to give them the stimulant which they crave. And the tragedy for them is they don't realize that they're in this trap, but they are.
That is both a funny and quite profound answer. So thank you very much.
It was carefully researched in advance.
Yeah. I mean,
I spent a day practicing that speech.
There you go. Thank you very much.
Worth it.
Have we got one more, Jackie?
Will it survive the edit? Is everyone's question.
Dear Francis,
By the way, how is Jackie?
He's all right.
I think he's good.
He's a top level
When
shagger.
you
Is
said Jackie, I had images of a rather sort of menopausal lady with chunky jewellery.
Yeah, well, he can be like that.
Has he got that side to him?
He has that side to him. It's 2025. Jackie can be whatever he wants.
Of course he can.
And he can be, he sometimes he does think he's a menopausal lady.
Not many men get called Jackie, do they?
I know. But he likes it, don't you, Jackie?
Jackie is got of a Scots sort of timbre to it, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's Jackie.
Ah, you wee bastard.
You wee bastard. It's true.
By the way, that's the other group that are always sort of with a flushed complexion and angry as the Scots.
Yeah, I know. And there's many reasons.
And they're my people.
Are you Scottish?
I'm a quarter Scottish, half Jewish, 100% Russian, 10% gay. I could go on. But no, I went to the University of Edinburgh. That's where I got my elite education.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's why I've got it all sussed out. Politics degree, you're welcome. That wasn't a waste of money, was it?
No, it wasn't indeed. Dear Francis, I'm a 26-year-old musician and my band is being pressured to take a stand on every political issue from Gaza to the US elections. I just want to make music. How do I stay out of the culture war without being labelled apathetic?
I know, that's the thing. This is the problem with everything's so politicized now, isn't it? And everyone has become so politically active. And so what it means is that if you decide that I'm just not going to participate in this, that in itself is an act of rebellion and will get you cancelled almost. You know, so with things like, I don't know, let's say it's trans rights or something, or Ukraine or whatever it is, if you don't put the flag on your bio of X, then you're a bad person. And this is what this person is going through, is that he just is like, just count me out of this one. I'm gonna sit this one out. But no, if you do that, then you're gonna be enabling somebody. He's in a very difficult position. I have thought this. Have you thought this? Which is, in the creative sort of artistic arena.
Yeah.
Why is it the law to be left wing? Why do you have to be left wing?
Because there is the majority of people are left wing. Left wing people tend to be very open. They tend to be more creative. They tend to be more,
What about Jim Davidson?
They tend to be more creative.
Jim Bowen.
Jim Bowen's dead.
Absolute Nazi. An intolerant man with a set of racist opinions.
Really?
No. It's just nice libeling people once they've gone. Really.
Yeah, once they've gone.
We'll get the clicks. That's a click. That's a viral.
I don't think anybody knows who Jim Bowen is anymore, mate.
No.
You've got to make it relevant.
I might do a 30-second explainer at the top.
I mean, maybe if you said something like Liam Payne was a Nazi.
It's contemporary, isn't it?
Yeah, then he wasn't.
The best thing about Jim Bowen, by the way, I admired him greatly, a great broadcaster, a great comedian, a lovely man. But he looked about 60 when he was 28.
Yeah. I mean, people did back then. Have you ever seen those pictures of like footballers from the 70s and they're 21?
And they look like they're about to have their first heart attack.
Yeah. And you go, not only do you look about 53, but you're also an athlete.
It was, I remember the later Roger Moore James Bond films where not only is he, sort of flirting with obesity in those roll neck jumpers, but actually out of breath on camera. So they weren't able to edit around his lack of lung capacity at that point. But, we loved Roger, so what's not to like? The best thing about Jim Bowen, by the way, which we need to bring back, was on game shows, seeing the money and having it counted out over the ad break.
Yes.
Why don't they still do that?
Exactly. Well, they've got rid of cash, the bastards. And the speedboat. I used to love that. They used to give a speedboat to somebody who lived in Wigan.
It was so good. And then the kicker was they often had to share it with their brother-in-law.
Yeah. Exactly.
How do you share a speedboat? And neither of you're both landlocked.
I love that. Look what you could have won. Brutal. So what does this person do? He's 26 years
old.
The
problem is if he offers a kind of small C conservative worldview, his career's over. It's going to be the great Winston Marshall all over again, isn't it?
Yeah, Winnie.
So he's got no choice. It's career. It's basically be woke and have a successful career, or say what you really think, which is what 87% of the population think, and you'll die of starvation. It's a very tricky choice, isn't it?
It's a very tricky choice.
Unless, could he pretend to think these things? Because I suspect there's a few people out there that do.
Yeah.
Because when I said to you, why have you got to be left-wing if you're creative? I'm not sure they all are.
No, they're not. No,
I think it's a position. And I think that it's... because I know that there's a few characters out there that when they get cancelled, when Lawrence Fox got cancelled first time round, he got loads of DMs going, mate, I back you all the way.
Yeah.
But they would never go public.
Yeah.
And they were like, politically correct actors.
Yeah.
Which is probably extra galling, I would have thought. So it's really hard to say. But I think, do you know what? I think putting food on the table is number one.
Yep.
So I probably would go with the flow. In order to sort of fit into the world of music, I would become very pro-Hamas. Yeah. And I would buy that the apparel,
yes,
which is sort of a nod to the Hamas cause.
The kefe.
I would get beg your pardon?
The kefe.
I can get you a tissue if you need. And then that didn't make sense, did it?
No.
We'll fix it in the edit. That's the great thing. Yeah. This isn't live. Can you imagine if it was? And also you can get a From the River to the Sea tattoo on your face. And I think number one beckons, and a world tour and Glastonbury. Yep. I think that would be, that's the way to go. And, don't thank us. I did a politics degree in the 90s. And in those days, right, politics was a kind of nerdy subject that only some people were interested in. And I happened to be, because my mum was addicted to the news and we had the news on every day. And I feel like I got weaned on it. And it was quite an interesting time. I'm a bit older than you. So like Thatcher was the PM. So love her or hate her, she was a colourful, interesting figure. So politics was quite interesting at the time, but it was still a minority sport. And when people went out to the pub or a restaurant, they did not really talk about that. They talked about everything else. And now everyone is really politically engaged. And it's actually almost impossible to I've been out to parties and stuff where I'm the least political person there. And I've been a current affairs broadcaster for 5 years. Yeah. And I'm like, can we just talk about golf? Yep. The merits of golf? And is pitch and putt an entry level? Do you go pitch and putt and then golf? Or do you go straight in with golf? And do you get lessons or do you need to buy the clubs? But no, people are obsessed. Yeah. So I'm sympathized with this guy. Yeah. Are we ever going to just unpoliticize?
I think we're too far down the proverbial rabbit hole for that.
I think so. I think that politics entering the kind of private sphere has been a disaster for society.
Yes, I completely agree. I think everything has become politicized. It's why part of the reason I no longer really watch football as much anymore. I don't hardly watch football. Football became politicized. Really? Yeah, BLM taking the knee.
Oh yeah. That was a big mistake. Yeah. Not because you might not support the cause, but to bring anything that's in any way debatable or controversial into a sporting... Sport is an escape from politics, right?
It's an escape from life. That's the point of sport. The point of sport, really, is that you can be very serious about something that is incredibly silly.
I know. And the low point for that knee business in the football was when the England team kept doing it, and then there were international nations of colour that weren't, and were looking in puzzlement at Harry Kane as he took the knee, going, what is this? What exactly are we doing here? Yeah. Pretty mad, isn't it?
It is pretty bad.
It's pretty crazy.
It is. And God bless you. Thank you for coming on the show, Mark. If people want to find you online, how do they do that?
Well, the OnlyFans is Mark Tits Dolan. Yeah. Because I might look flat-chested, but it's actually a chest binder.
Yeah, you've got succulent bosoms.
I'm on a journey.
As we all are.
The Mark Dolan Show on YouTube. Thank you for the plug. I really appreciate it.
There you go. The Mark Dolan Show on YouTube. Make sure to check it out. Guys, thank you for watching and listening. Rate, like, subscribe, recommend a friend, and we'll see you same time next week. Take care. Good night. God bless.